Check. 1 2 1 2. One of the most interesting concepts that I took away from Alex Hormozy was the idea of doing your best versus doing what it takes. And imagine in the fitness space, it's a quite easy concept to understand. Let's say you're like, cool, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, I'm eating better, I'm making better choices, I'm getting better sleep, I'm drinking enough water, but I'm not seeing the results that I want. And you think you're doing enough. You're like, I read everywhere, it says go to the gym 3 times a week, I think I'm eating enough, and I think I'm sleeping enough. I've been doing this for a few months now, but my results don't reflect the work I'm putting in. So like, you might think on one end, this doesn't work for me. The other end is reality is, one, it requires a bit more intensity, and it probably requires you to be more patient and be a bit more consistent. And for newbies, they might see some results in the beginning, but if you want to begin to advance, you need to make more progression inside of the gym, and you need to be more consistent with your diet outside of the gym. Similar to, let's say, business. I've seen a couple of my clients and trainers think, I'm going to make 2 to 3 calls a day with leads that are coming in. The other side, when I put in someone on my team, they'll make 40 to 50 calls a day and book 2 to 4 meetings within a day. So you got to think you're probably putting in 10 to 50% of what it actually requires in order to see a result. And imagine you have to increase that quite a bit minimally, and then do that consistently in order to see the actual result. So here's an example. If you only make 2 to 3 calls a day, or even 5 calls a day to leads, within a week, you can make anywhere from 15 to 25 calls, like 5 days a week, right? Whereas someone on my team will call 40 to 50 times a day. That's 200 to 250 calls within 1 week. How long would it take you to make 250 dials if you're only calling 3 to 5 times a day, even 10 times a day, even 20 times a day? It's a literal fraction of the output of someone who's dedicated, who knows the KPIs, who knows the metrics in order to see success, versus if you don't know, you don't understand, you might not be willing or be able to see that there is a minimum amount required, and your best isn't enough versus what's actually required. So if you're like, from that particular perspective, you're thinking, wow, I made 5 calls today, no one's picking up, I'm hitting voicemails, it's not the right time, it doesn't work for me, maybe it just isn't for me. And if I took a step back and be like, okay, let's actually see within 2 months how many calls you've actually made. Oh, you've made 40 calls in 2 months. That's how much that's someone from my team does that in 1 day. And the reality is, let's say here's a nuanced piece of information when you're trying to get in touch with someone, is they need anywhere from 6 to 15 touches, contacts, text messages, voicemails, consistently across a couple weeks to be able to just get in touch with someone. Why? Because people are busy. They work 9 to 5s, they have kids, they have other things going on, they have hobbies, they need they don't have a lot of time within the day to be able to just sit there and pick up a phone call. So you need to be able to catch them when they're available. You need to be able to catch them when they can speak. And that really has a lot more to do with your follow-up and your sales. So if you're expecting someone to be able to answer a phone after 1 call or 1 voicemail on 1 day, and you're like, they're not worth following up, and they're busy, it's like, that's absolutely 100% the wrong perspective. And I also get it. If this is a specific task you don't want to do in your business, then you need to either outsource it, you need to delegate, or you need to hire it out if you aren't open to doing this, which is completely understandable. But that doesn't mean that you need to be able to step away from this and see this as a task that can't be done or shouldn't be done just because you don't want to do it. And so we need to be solution oriented, not problem focused. So hopefully you understood this rant. Shout out to Alex. Peace.